In this episode, we asked why the British police conducted welfare checks on a violent criminal who threatened to kill children.
Is that a pile of money down there?
Living here in tents.
Go!
Looks like he's high there as well.
Take it easy.
Don't put your hands on me.
It's not racist to raise issues like this.
These people
It's not.
They've not done the background on this guy.
Well, I'm horrified that this violent criminal who's been terrorising his own hometown is able to come and go to and from the UK at will.
The UK is facilitating trafficking in human beings.
Why did Sadiq Khan defend the rights of a group that human rights experts warned could be linked to organised crime? All right, they're still watching us, so we need to get out of here right now. This is a document, so it gets worse. We went to Romania, this wasn't a mystery, and this group has been operating for years. In the last episode, we travelled to Romania to expose a violent criminal who came here to Park Lane to live in a tent as part of an organised begging group. The man, called Iliuta Gruia, terrorised his local neighbourhood in Romania, and we also found court documents that showed that he threatened to kill children with an axe. Mr. Gruia first came to our attention when he went out of his way to verbally abuse Conservative MP Philp.
Racist, no respect.
You can't,
It's not racist
because we got pictures of you gambling,
Go.
because we got pictures of you drinking,
Please.
because
Go.
we got pictures of you begging.
Excuse me.
It's not
Go,
racist.
please.
Don't put your hands on me. So we thought we'd start by asking Mr. Philp what he made of all of that. I don't know if you remember, we went down to Park Lane in the summer to see a migrant camp, and do you remember this fellow?
I do. This guy would look like he was the kind of ringleader, and when we went over to the group of people in the tents, he started shouting at us, didn't he? And accused me of being racist for just asking what was going on, and he was swearing, shouting, and behaving in like a really aggressive way. Yeah, I remember him.
We've got pictures of you begging.
You have?
We've got pictures
No,
of
no,
you
no, no,
gambling
no. You
with
have?
lots of money.
No, you
We've
have?
got pictures of you on
You
that
have?
table
No.
gambling
No
with
speak,
lots
no
of money.
speak too much. Too racist. Too racist, no respect.
Yeah, I remember this guy.
It's
I
not-
don't think it's
No
racist to ask
respect
questions.
to Hitler. Too racist.
It's not racist to ask questions.
No. These people too racist.
You can't call
You
someone.
have
It's not.
document.
You can't
It's not
call
racist
someone-
to ask
you can't-
questions.
Racist, no respect.
I'm here to offer
No,
help.
I coming for help me.
The council have come here like 5-6 times.
Please, come in for help.
The council have come. The council have come.
No.
Many
What help
times
do
the
you
council
need?
have come.
What help are you asking for?
The
council have come to help.
No.
Lots of times the council have come.
For these people, is no respect. Hitler. And they say Hitler.
Hit-
Deutsch. This.
We have done a little bit of digging, and we've actually been able to find this guy on social media.
Have you? Okay. Look at that is him, isn't it?
Yep, you can see from the tattoos and all the rest
That's
of it.
right. Yeah, the tattoos are exactly the same.
So his name is Iliuta Gruia, and he is a guy from Botoșani in Romania.
Right.
And this is simultaneously what he was putting on, or has been putting on social media whilst begging.
Is that a pile of money down
A
there?
pile of coins.
Right.
That he,
Looks like he's high there as well.
yeah. In this video, he's saying that he's kind of like, it's like calling out his critics. He puts himself forward as a kind of gangster. Some other footage from, this is clearly in London,
Yeah.
and as part of the begging group.
Yeah. Well, he's clearly boasting about the money he's been making, begging on the streets of London, possibly committing criminal offences as well, and seems pretty unrepentant about what he's been doing.
Right, so it gets worse. We went out to Romania, to the place that he's from. This is a document that we found that was huge in the court. When we did the background on him, it turns out that he has a violent criminal history, and this document lays out that there is actually a civil injunction against him from a family because he had a disagreement with the wife and then turned up at their door swinging an axe around and threatening to kill the children.
Wow. And this person is now was last summer anyway, on the streets of London, apparently acting as the ringleader of some kind of begging gang, maybe criminal gang.
We'll show you is a bit of footage that kind of gives you a sense of also the type of person that we found out that he was when we spoke to some of his neighbours. We know at least one family were thinking of leaving town because they were so scared of him. that the person we were speaking to was visibly terrified of this guy. But it is also a well-known fact here that he goes to the UK on a regular basis. I mean, I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that we've had the British police going into his tent and checking that he's all right. We've had the Mayor of London coming out and publicly defending him and his group, talking about access to housing. They've not done the background on this guy. We've come out here and it turns out he's a violent criminal who has threatened to kill children with an axe. So we're going to go and knock on this guy's door and see what he's got to say for himself about some of the allegations that have been levelled against him. We've been advised by locals that we need to inform the police. So there's a police van sat over there with a set of gendarmes to just be there in case anything doesn't go well. So let's go and have a chat.
So you actually found where he lives in Romania, and you're heading over to see him? Wow, okay.
He's out of the country apparently. Who knows, he could be in the UK. It was pretty boxed in there, bit of a rat run, easy to get surrounded by people. Indication of how serious the situation was if you just go and have a look over there at the police presence. Not the kind of place that you want to get isolated with a guy who's threatened to kill children with an axe.
Well, I'm horrified that this violent criminal who's been terrorising his own hometown, threatening to kill children with an axe, is able to come and go to and from the UK at will, obviously posing a risk to citizens here in London, and that Sadiq Khan, the Mayor of London, has been apparently trying to help this guy out when in fact he's a violent criminal. As far as I'm concerned, people like this, violent criminals, whether from Romania or anywhere else, should be deported, and we should make sure they don't re-enter the country. This kind of person has no place on our streets, and I'm horrified to discover that man we confronted last summer is so dangerous and so violent and notorious in his own hometown.
One of the reasons we'd gone down there was because they were defecating in places, they were having loud drinking sessions into the night. As mentioned in the video, they were seen gambling with wads of money.
The warning signs were obviously ignored, and like I say, the police, Westminster Council, immigration enforcement, they've all been asleep at the wheel here. This kind of thing should not be allowed to happen on our streets, and people like this violent criminal don't belong in this country.
Now, a lot of you are probably wondering, as we were, what the authorities knew about a guy who locals in Romania said came to and from the UK many times. Well, the answer from the time, at least, is that they decided he was someone that needed help. When the police were sent out here, it was to conduct a welfare check, not a background check. Now, this is a meeting from Westminster Council where the councillor Lisa Begum, who's responsible for housing, is asked specifically about those welfare checks, and she seems to suggest that the council has a very good knowledge of the group.
Legal tents on Park Lane, and whether they joined the Met officers recently sent by Labour's mayor to inquire about their welfare.
Our outreach services are always at the Park Lane encampment, working with. They work very closely with the people in the encampment. Unfortunately, a lot of them have complex needs, and some are not willing to take the outreach services that are available.
Councillor Begum was not alone in taking a sympathetic stance. When the Mayor of London Sadiq Khan was asked about the safety and hygiene of this site, he said, migrants and refugee communities face specific barriers to participating in and contributing to life in London, including accessing employment and housing opportunities. Now, we're not experts in organised begging or the types of Romanian groups that Gruia was a part of. So we tracked down some charitable organisations that did have a better understanding of it, and they had a very different take to one of the Mayor of London. His response to this has been that this is a migration issue and that...
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's organised crime at the expense of your citizens. You have a lot of problems there with migration. But to be honest, I mean, migration, why? Because they're Romanians. So why would they migrate from Romania to Great Britain? Yeah, we do have some Romanians working in Great Britain and stealing as work in Great Britain.
From what you're saying, it's like it's just completely wrong to view this issue as because essentially a resident came to him and said, you know, what's going on with this camp? And he said, migrants face issues with housing.
Listen, they're coming. These people that you have in that park, camped in that park, I bet you they are coming in Romania every now and then. I have them here. They're my neighbors, and I know that they disappear. They go to work in England, and then they come back. So this is not migration.
Is the UK then facilitating that whole arrangement by having...
UK is facilitating trafficking in human beings, because I guarantee you a lot of these people begging, they don't have much to eat. They're exploited. They have to give the money to the head of the network. They can get beaten up. They can get punished. So this is what they're doing. They're facilitating trafficking in human beings.
Now, it's important that we be clear about whose responsibility it was for the situation in Park Lane. Now, this land is owned by TfL, which is a public body that's ultimately controlled by the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan. They had the legal right to get bailiffs on here and kick the group off at any time. However, what they decided to do was work in partnership with Westminster Council to do outreach. This is essentially what Councillor Begum was talking about when she says that people weren't taking up the offer for the services that they had because of complex needs. The real question is, though, whether they considered any of the points raised by the human trafficking expert. So we asked everyone involved. So we've come down to try and speak to the leader of Westminster Council, Adam Hugg, about everything that they did.
It's Zach from The Express. I was wondering if I could ask you some questions about the Romanian group that you had in Park Lane and your approach that you took to them. You got my response about we looked into the group. We actually had details. We showed video of the group you had in Park Lane to 3 experts in NGOs in Romania. They said that it was that in their expert opinion they were organised crime or linked to human trafficking. What I don't understand is why your council workers that were down there every single day didn't see any of that.
So obviously we had outreach workers working alongside the police to try and assist sorting out that situation. We were working closely with TfL to get the legal permissions to clear the encampment. But
why didn't you speak to people in Romania? When we went to Romania, this wasn't a mystery. This group has been operating for years. I mean, there was a police investigation around about 10 years ago that found organised begging as a serious problem with modern slavery and the risk that it poses.
That's why the council works alongside the police and the authorities to make sure that they're doing all they can to tackle.
Your workers were down there every single day. And the safety of your residents was there. And you never replied to that when we asked you the question in terms of what about someone that felt unsafe and they came to you with their concerns.
So of course our teams have engaged on a regular basis with local residents, with other stakeholders to try and get on top of the situation there. Obviously not every person would engage with outreach, and that's one of the key challenges that you always have.
The guy that we had was a career criminal. Why is he going to engage with outreach?
That's my point. Obviously, the people who are going to engage with outreach will be the people that they're talking with, and obviously these people, the people who are involved in that other kind of work will, not engage, and that's why we work with the police and other partners to try and make.
When Lisa Begum, when she was there, she was quite snappy about talking about people's complex needs. But what about, why weren't you approaching it that this was exploitation and modern slavery potentially? Everyone knows that organised begging is like that.
So we know that there is organised begging, which is separate from issues of vulnerable people who are there. There is a range of different people who are sleeping rough in our city, and they require different responses. And that's why working with the police, with TfL, to get the encampments cleared.
Okay, but right?
Thanks very much.
Okay, we just want to understand why...
No, of course, I do understand that. But as I said, we want to make sure that every case is dealt with effectively by outreach, by the police and the most...
But it seems like you weren't recognising that, because the approach seemed to be that this was a homeless issue and a migration issue, not potentially a safety issue.
So ultimately, all of these things work together. And as you've been told, obviously the police, TfL and the council have been working together.
Well, it was news to you when we did our investigation, but the experts, the NGO experts, they took one look at it. You should have been speaking to people in Romania.
As I said, TfL, the police, and there are a whole range of different experts who are working on this to try and tackle those issues.
Why wasn't that communicated to the public? Why wasn't that communicated to us?
well, as I say, you've obviously reached out to us. We've given you a full response, and then you've come to see me this afternoon, so this morning. So thank you very much for your time.
All right. Well, look, thanks for answering the questions. Obviously, he gave us a lot of the responses that we already knew about, wasn't able to go into further detail. Now he's just gone into the Labour Party offices here. So there you go. It's not unreasonable for the British public to expect the authorities to prioritise the safety of their children. It's also not unreasonable for the British public to expect those in control of our borders to have some idea about who is coming to and from the country. But this investigation has shown that that simply isn't the case. What happened here was that a man with a violent criminal past was able to come to London's most exclusive postcode and seize a piece of land. There, he set up an enterprise that profited from the sympathy of passers-by. He didn't make any secret about the fact of what he was doing. In fact, he boasted about it on social media. In short, he was laughing at us. But that's not even the most egregious part. Because when we dug into his violent criminal past, it turned out that he had threatened to kill children with an axe. None of this was known to the authorities because they decided that the problem that happened here was a homelessness issue or a migration issue. That didn't just put the British public at risk, it also put any of the vulnerable people that might have been on that site at risk. And that should scare all of us. You've been watching The Express Report. I'm Garner-Purkis. Remember, when they told you real journalism died, they lied.